Welcome to everyone and thanks for joining us today for what is another significant announcement for our football club. Prior to going into that announcement, I just wanted to acknowledge our broader Western United community and to say thank you for their continued and ongoing support to our sponsors and our partners who have supported us along the way. A big thank you to them, and certainly we wouldn't be here without their support. To our members and our fans who have joined us on the journey and continue to join us on that journey, we say thank you for them and all the support that they provide us on a day-to-day basis. We also want to say thank you to our players and our staff, our families and our friends who allow us to bring our vision as a football club to a reality. As a club that's in our fourth year of existence, and we're an emerging football club and a young football club, we're really excited and proud of what we've achieved to date. We've introduced an A-League men's program, we've introduced an A-League women's program, we've introduced a program for all young aspiring male and female players to represent Western United, and for those in the West who are aspiring to play professional football, we're giving them a pathway. We're really happy with the partnership that we've brought together with Calder United women's program that enables every young aspiring young female an opportunity to play football in the West. In our short history, we've been able to win promotion in our senior academy from NPL 3 into NPL 2, and most importantly, obviously our fairy tale season last year where we were crowned A-League men's champions in just our third year. We're really proud of what we've achieved to date, and the club has gone a long way in such a short period, and we're really excited to continue on our journey. As part of our journey, along the way you make some significant steps and significant announcements to allow you to get to those points, and today we're here to announce a significant milestone for our football club, and we're absolutely delighted to announce that John Aloisi will be the head coach of our A-League men's program for another 2 seasons. That will see John continue in the program until the end of the Aloisi Ute A-League men's season 2024-25, sorry. So we're really excited to have John on board for another 2 seasons. John joined us at the start of the 21-22 season, and what he's brought to our football club, both on and off the field over the short period that he has been here, has been exceptional, and we're really excited to join on the journey with John to bring us forward. So as a football club, we couldn't be more delighted to announce John as a leader of our football program until the end of the 24-25 season. And I'll hand over to John now just to say a few words. John.
Thanks, Mel. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone in the club for all their support since I've been here, from the chairman to all the board, Chris, Mel, and all the staff, players, sponsors who are an important part, and our supporters, because we are building as a club. It's a very new club, and that's what excited me when I first signed, and it still excites me now that the journey that we're on as a football club. People talk about achieving success, which we were fortunate that we were able to achieve it so early in our history last season. And we want more success. We're very ambitious, but it's about building the foundations of a good football club, and will end up being a great football club. And that's what excites me most. The culture, the vision that Mal spoke about. We will be in our new precinct as of next season. That excites me. I'm sure it excites all the fans and everyone involved in the club. The players especially, and everyone since I've been here day one has been of great support, and I'm grateful that I'm here, and I'm continuing to be here for another 2 years, and let's hope we have more success. We'll be working hard to make sure we do. So thanks again, and I'll open up to probably Chris to ask the first question. I'll open up to the journos to ask the questions.
Question for John, or maybe Mel, or Chris, you want to jump in? I remember after the great final last season, you said you'd stick around if they showed you the money. That
was a joke. No, it wasn't. It wasn't about the money. It was never about that. It was a joke because I think I watched during the week. What was the movie with Tom Cruise? Yeah, it was that movie. So I thought it was a funny line to use. But it was always about what the club is here for, and we're being tested this season. And I said all along that this will show what kind of club we want to be. Is when you are going through those difficult challenges, and how the culture doesn't waver, and how the belief in the club doesn't waver, and how the support is still there. And I saw it this season, and so far, and we've had a difficult time on the field, and certain things off the field that haven't gone quite to plan. But that's part of our journey as a football club. That will make us stronger as a football club, and I want to be part of the growth of the football club. That was the main thing of me wanting to stay on. I never had any thoughts about going to another A-League side. It was always about if this is going to be the right club moving forward, and I believe it is, and we want continued success.
Well, now that you do have another 2 years of this project here, and to build that culture and to build your team, what are some of the words you want people to describe your teams with in the years ahead? What adjectives would we describe a John Aloisi Western United A-League men team?
The first thing is a hard-working team, because that's who we are. We come from the base is so low, you can say, because it's a new club, and so unless you work hard to grow as a club, and that's on and off the field, you're not going to get no success. The football, don't worry about the football. The football will take care of itself. And eventually you will see different way of playing with different sorts of players. But the biggest thing for us was building a good foundation, making sure that we're successful as quick as possible, and then bringing through younger players. Hopefully through our academy, we're already bringing through some really talented younger players that are showing now. After a year and a half working with us and working with our group, the level they're getting to, and that will continue. So I'm hoping that in a few years' time, people will see not only the success on the field in terms of results, but also what we've been able to bring through with our younger players, and also our players that are a little bit older. That we're able to get the best out of them, and they're able to help drive our culture. The biggest thing for me is what we stand for as a football club, and who we are, and I think we're showing that through some tough times and through good times.
John, Roy from the Age Kingdom.
Good.
Mate, did you look overseas at all? I know you've had good success here, but we're seeing Aussies get a go overseas in Europe. Did you have a look around? Did anyone come to you and say, we've got some interest?
No, not yet. I'd love to coach overseas, and eventually I hope that I will. That's definitely a goal and an ambition of mine. But I've decided to stay in Australia for a few more years, because I believe there's still a lot of work to do here. There's a lot of growing, not only for the club, but for me personally as a coach. I've had a lot of experience now in the A-League, but you're always learning, you're always evolving, you're always developing your coaching, and so it wasn't in my mind to go overseas just as yet. I also have a family that are sacrificing a lot anyway. By living interstate, and if I go overseas, then maybe I'll see them less, and it won't be so good for them. So a lot goes into it when you start thinking about your coaching future. It's never easy, especially for families. But I've got a supportive wife and daughters.
What goals you got, John, the next 2 seasons? And I guess
First goal was winning on Monday. That's my first goal. The goals that I have is also, making sure that we get sustained success here. That's important for us, and important for the club, and that's definitely a short-term goal for now. Eventually I talked about going overseas. I won't say when that will be, because I don't know. I could be here they've got me for another 2 years. If they might have me for another 10, I don't know. Depends on how the situation evolves with the football club, and if it's the right fit for everyone. I've mentioned many times that I'd love to coach the Socceroos one day. When that will be, hopefully I get an opportunity one day, but definitely coaching overseas. Ange has shown the way, and other coaches have shown the way that you can get to the level that you believe you can get to. And that all started here in the A-League, with Ange, with Kevin Muscat, Graham Arnold. They had success here in the A-League. So for me, the most important thing is the present. You always have your goals, but it's now, working now, and making sure that you achieve your goals now.
Well, Chris, whoever's best placed to answer this, How long did this process make to decide to offer John a new contract? Obviously, winning the title is probably a big plus, but what was the sort of review process like? Did you think about other options, or was it only ever John and you were figuring out more how long than if you do?
Yep, I'm happy to answer that, or do you want to answer that, Chris?
Look, you go for it.
Yeah. For us, from a football perspective, John was always the answer for our football club, because the most important thing for us is setting the foundations and the base and bringing the right individual in that's going to drive the values and behaviours that are important to our club. With that, John came along last season and we wanted to see if he was the right person for our club, and he showed in a really short period of time that he was the right person for our club. So results will come up and down. That they won't come every week, but the foundations and base is the most important thing, and we've got a coach here and someone that will continue to drive the values that are important to our club. So it was a very easy decision for us to renew John and extend his contract, because we know we're all aligned in respect to the journey that we're on, and John's going to be the right person that will drive us through to that journey.
John, you mentioned your family's living interstate. Does this contract give you a bit more certainty around, can they move down with you now? Or?
No, they won't move down with me yet. Because my daughter, the youngest one, is in year 11, so it's a bit hard to take her out of school. They come down as often as possible. Look, I'd love for them to move here. I'm not saying that coaching, even though you've got a 2-year contract, you don't know how stable your life is. But again, I'm fortunate that I've got a supporting family. It's hopefully eventually we'll start living together again. It's been difficult at times, but they've always, whenever they've got time to come and see me and visit me and spend time with me, they're there. They won't be moving yet, though.
And your staff here, Hayden, J.A., will you look to lock them in for the next 2 years now as well and keep the band together?
It'll be a discussion that we have to have internally as a club, and also with the individuals themselves, and we'll work through that over the next few months, and we'll be organised, for the next season and the next coming seasons. But there'll be something that we'll just start discussing internally. It's difficult when you don't know who the head coach is going to be. Start talking to staff members, but that will be now. There's a lot that goes into it, and there's a lot of discussions to be had still.
Similar vein with players, I guess, now that you're locked in for 2 years and have that security, how much turnover do you expect to have next season?
Yeah, there won't be a great deal of turnover. We've got a pretty good base. We've got a pretty good core at the moment. There'll still be some turnover, because that happens in every team and in football. We've got, but a lot of the time we were always in discussions whether I was staying or going, about seeing how we can best prepare for next season already, and some of the signings we've already made. From other clubs, with Remy Najarine, with Michael Roos, the re-signings of Noah Botic, and Reece Bosanowski earlier in the season. So that's always, whether I was here or not, I'm not, and that'll be the same the next 2 years. We'll look to build for the future always, and make sure that we've got that, because you can easily lose a lot of players, and you lose your. We talk about the culture, the values. You talk about the core of a football club. We've got Connor Payne, Josh Risden, that have been here since day one. They're important people for our football club, and not only have they been important, moving forward they're going to be important. So turnover, there'll be a few, but I can't say at the moment how many.
Chris, respectfully, John wasn't necessarily a unanimous choice when you brought him on 20 or so months ago. What convinced you that he was the right person among a pretty, decent crop of candidates, and how have you viewed his evolution over that period?
Yeah, look, John's been. The decision-making process was a comprehensive process, and during that process, obviously, there's a lot of people that have differing opinions. But what stood out with John was his experience, his leadership, and his work ethic. And from day one, John has embraced this club and taken it to another level. When John arrived at this club, we had a big job to do. We had a big job to reset the culture. We had to go again, and John has, and his workings and his staff have taken that to another level. The work ethic, the leadership that John has, I think the question was before, was it a long process? No, it was a pretty short process, because John is an amazing person. He's an amazing coach, and he will take this club to the highest possible benchmark, and I'm sure of that. And that's why when you have someone like John next to you and you have the ability to build the club together, I think it was an easy decision. So I think we are where we are because of the comprehensive process we took, and I think we're going to even get stronger as the time goes on.
Last couple guys.
Chris, what's the next priority for you and the board now at the club? You've got John locked in, Dorcazo and the A-League Women program locked in, you've got the pathways through the boys program and Calder for the girls program, you've got the training base. What are your next major priorities for this club?
The number one priority for this club is to get to the West, build that home and build the fortress, and something that I think the whole of the West can be proud of. And a lot of work's going on in the background, and I know that there'll be some exciting announcements in the near future, and we can't wait to get to the West and what's coming in the next 12 to 24 months. And that's why securing people like John for the next 24 months with our clear vision internally was critical for that.
Can we have a hint as to some of those exciting announcements?
Yeah, no. I think they're for another time. At this point, I don't want to take the gloss away from what is important, and the important thing is we've got John at the helm for the next 2 years, and with that, I think it's an exciting period for the club.
Well, John, without asking you to go into details, did you seek assurances about what the future of this club looks like before you signed on the dotted line about that new stadium in the West?
Yeah, there's always discussions, that I have with the chairman, with Chris and Mao, with the board, because they interview you, but you also interview them, because we need to be aligned. We need to have the same vision, the same goals, the same ambitions, and they've definitely been discussed over a period of time. And that was probably why it took so long, because we're just discussing things, and seeing where because things can move pretty quickly, not only in football, but with the project that has been happening in the background for a number of months. We had a major setback with COVID. Everyone knows about that, and so it was just making sure that everything was still, we're on the same path, we're on the same, we're aligned. Because I've been in previous football clubs when you're not on the same path and you're not aligned, it doesn't work. So that's the reason why I'm staying here, and I'm excited about it, because the vision is there from both sides, and we can't wait for the next 24 months.